Hello, I'm Janie from Messages from Heaven by Janie. Um, I think actually I have remote peaks stuck on the end there, and I probably should change it. Um, Before I go on, let me tell you, I need computer help. So if there's anybody out there who understands stuff, remember I'm a 76-year-old lady. I'm in my 77th year. Computers didn't exist when I was growing up, not like the kids today at all. Um, my 3-year-old granddaughter has had a computer for more than a year. Um, so I'm about on her level. In fact, I think she does better than I do. I need to have a website. I've read a lot of people, and there's nowhere for them to say how I did. Honestly, they all were very happy, um, but I don't have a website. I did used to have one, but when I was unable anymore to add more paintings to it, because that's what I've been all my life, a painter. That's what I went to school for, starting when I was 13, um, and never thought that I would do something else. I thought that the spirits that I would kind of see flitting by, that would be there for maybe a quarter of a second. I thought, it's no big deal. Probably others see them. I figured that they did. And if they didn't, it was because I was a nut, you know. I do, well, from what I understand, I think differently. I see myself a little bit like a giraffe. I don't notice things all the time. Um, that wasn't why I'm making this video, though. Um, Although I do miss things, and that's something that you want to notice if that's how your partner is, because it's not a horrible thing. We don't all realize that somebody is noticing how much coffee we drink, or how we cleaned up the gas range after we made spaghetti or something, or if we left the front door open after we went out to smoke a cigarette, which I never did. But um, I did have someone I considered like a nephew who used to do that. He just forgot. And he would leave his coffee cup from Wawa, you know, wherever he happened to be sitting, and then he might leave. And me too. Not my coffee cup, but I would leave my cup, my glass, with water in it. And one of my granddaughters said to me that, yeah, I always leave my glass out when I leave. I never even thought about it. That's what I wanted to talk about today, is finding our partner. And that's not something, a person who doesn't notice those kinds of things, that isn't something that is terrible unless you think it's terrible. If it really drives you crazy, I wouldn't want a partner who uses my toothbrush. Um, my husband, I've been married for 60 years, where we will be finishing 60 years in November. Um, I didn't know that it bothered him. I used the same container of toothpaste. Oh, but everybody's different, and what we notice might not be what another person notices, and it to us it might not be important. Um, he doesn't care if I drink almond milk. Somebody else might. Um, a lot of stuff like that. But one of the things that I know is that people do change over time, and you cannot be married for more than 4 years without arguing, you are not going to love that person every minute. You're not going to want to have sex with that person every minute. You're not going to be attracted to the person every minute. There are times you're going to want to crack them over the head or her over the head. Uh, that's life. There will be times when you feel like you hate the person. And how could you ever have chosen that person? But it's reality. People fight over money, number one. That might be the biggest reason they fight. But people fight over a lot of stuff. Um, I don't know if anybody young watches or reads newspapers anymore. I know they read news online, but people can fight over that. They can fight over getting to the computer if there's only one, or fighting about you always leave your phone around, or you never get gas in the car. The you never is a big one. Um, it's good to be able to not get angry at those kinds of statements. You always, you never, that those kind of statements, if you can not quite hear them the way they're being said and just understand that this person is maybe overwhelmed or feels as though he or she does it too often and really would like a break. If you can hear it a little differently from the way it's said, it's difficult. I mean, I just realized that after 60 years, hardly takes any time at all, that um, when I think my husband is yelling, he's not yelling. He thinks I'm yelling when I answer the phone because he calls me, I think, 54 times a day. He, he thinks twice. And I think he thinks I'm yelling at him when I say, "What do you want?" I'm like, that's not yelling. But to him, it is. That's the important part. It really isn't what you're doing because it's how the other person is hearing it, is seeing it, is feeling it. It's not the truth. There isn't really a truth. The only truth that, well, there are truths, but you never want a person who throws things at you, you know, like anything, an umbrella, a fork, even a hat, because after the hat might be the umbrella. Um, Anybody who grabs your arm and isn't stopping you from getting hit by a truck is dangerous. I've seen athletes beat the hell out of their girlfriends or the mothers of their children, um, just because people are wealthy and very talented in one area doesn't make them talented in anything else. People think because they make a lot of money that they're smarter. No, it's not true. They're not. They just had a skill in one area, or they were able, or something, and they made a lot of money. It doesn't mean anything other than that. And what I'm trying to get at is that if someone is violent in any way, either toward you, toward children, or toward animals, they need help, but not from you. They need professional help. And if you're their partner, even if you're a professional therapist, no, you don't. As a partner, they're no good because they can kill you. They they literally do frequently kill their partners, and sometimes they kill their children. So it's really important to know that. My first boyfriend um, used to, I think because he was raised that way, he did used to grab my arm. And I'm really thankful that I didn't choose him. I could have, and I didn't, luckily. I chose someone who isn't violent. And the fact is that we all have layers too. So while a person may not be violent usually, that doesn't mean they might not be some other time. So you have to be thoughtful and careful. Um, I wrote myself some notes because I was concerned about children and animals throwing things around, cursing. Um, really, when your partner is yelling at you, saying only he or she knows how to do X, Y, and Z, it's abusive. It's really bad news for children to hear this. I grew up hearing that, and it makes kids feel as though they want to stand up for the parent who's being abused, but they can't. And oftentimes, the person who is doing that abusing will deny it and will say, "Well, I was just telling so and so how to do this." No, it's abusive. Cursing at the other person, not being respectful, it's abuse. And you never want children to hear that. When everybody argues, everybody, and like I said, you're going to hate the person sometimes, and it's up to you whether to stay or go. We chose to stay. It's kind of old fashioned, but I'm not sorry. However, you don't want children to hear you cursing. Um, our daughter used to call my mother, who was a wonderful grandmother, and my husband's father and complain. And then his father would get back to him. And it worked. It was okay to a point. Um, you really don't want children to hear you arguing because, well, kids think you're going to get divorced and they get nervous and they think, even though it's insane, they'll think they are the cause. Of course they're not, but that's the way children think. Um, it really is a good idea if you're a parent, you understand how children think. Um, when our children were born, times were different. Even when our son was born, and he's only just beginning, maybe middle age. Um, but times change and expectations change too. Those things are important. Violence, belittling, um, language, they matter. Uh, you want your children and you yourself want to respect yourself. It's important to know you are perfect the way you are. Even though you have issues, we all have issues. We die having issues. That's true. It's just the reality. You can't get rid of them all. We are onions. We peel away one, and then there's another one, and another one, and another one. Um, I was tremendously lucky, and I still don't understand how I managed to be in therapy for so many years, 50 years, but I did. And I'm not sure what I learned, some things, but I'm not a therapist. That's not where my education is. I worked as a therapist in a psych hospital. So it's really not, you might think, oh, well, that's apropos. No, it isn't. Um, no. Um, really, that's it. Um, yes, I am somewhat psychic. Every psychic is different. Um, I'm really an artist. I'm really a grandmother. Um, Still a wife. I still have a garden that I can't really take care of anymore because we get old, and you need to know that your grandparents or parents, when they're getting old, will slowly be cutting down on things they have the energy to do. Um, I have a wonderful garden that I built myself. Um, I used my father's um, shovel, and I screwed up my back something awful, but I was very happy doing it, and I still love to look out at the greenery. That's important. That helps all of us. If you live near a park, try to make it your business to be near a tree. At least every couple of days, it helps. It's really good for us. I know it's a different way of thinking, but it helps. I don't want to say anything psychic now. There's nothing psychic in knowing that you want a partner who is not physical. I mean, physical in loving ways, yes. Affectionate ways, yes. But not, not grabby and hurtful. And perhaps a person who has good energy that isn't destructive. I think really, I think that's really it. Oh, I know what. I don't know if I said it before, but I do need to, I think I did. I do need to set up a website because although I've read a lot of people, I don't have a website. And I think I said, yes, I did, that I used to have one with my artwork on it. And I still have something with my artwork on Flickr, flickr.com, Painter Jane. But I don't have a website and I need help and I'm willing to pay for it because, you know, I don't expect people to work for nothing. Um, so let me know if it's something that you can do. And if there's anything that anybody that you want me to interview, I will. Um, you probably should include questions that you specifically want because I found that the famous people or even professors they don't get deluged, but when they transition, they do hear from mediums like me. I can contact any spirit, and I do. It's no big deal. I do, and anybody could. You have to work at it, but I had a reason for working at it, and I do. I talk to them, but I do find that mediums do contact them. I'm not the only one, and they also are questioned by other spirits. So you may be a skeptic, and so what? Just just click off or something. Um, when I talked to Janis Joplin, I'm trying to think that I could call her back. I think I did to ask her something, and I realized that they they get annoyed because they're being questioned. They're very nice. I don't think I've had any of them not be nice at all. Um, Eleanor Roosevelt was a little touchy and didn't really want to be bothered. She must have over the years had a lot of people wanting to talk to her. But I talked to Janis Joplin, and then the other night I called my favorite professor from. I went to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, and Julian Levy was my favorite teacher, and he told me that even though he's a spirit, well, people are. I don't know how they're painting. I have no idea. I got the idea of how people are singing, but I guess it's the same thing that you're constructing in some way. I don't get it. I don't understand. And if it sounds ridiculous to you, it sort of sounds ridiculous to me too. But he said that he was really busy and that he's doing that. Um, he wasn't famous. He was an artist who showed in Manhattan and sold his work. But this being an artist, if you have any desire to be an artist, do something else that you can make a living at and paint on the side because it is so hard. He had to come to Philly every week and work at the academy because you have to teach in order to have like a living, you know. Um, it is hard to make a living selling your work. It is just as hard as being a musician. Both of them are awfully, horribly tough. Probably being a dancer would be the same. It's up to other people and what they like. And if they hear you say something in which they don't like your politics, they probably won't buy your artwork or they won't listen to your music. And it stinks. Um, so Julian Levy, who, did as well as you possibly could, never never became a star. And like Picasso, where Picasso could really make a living being an artist. Um, so many artists in the past, like Utrecht and, oh goodness, uh, Manet, you think that, oh my, they could make a living. Well, they were wonderful painters. Manet was fabulous, but he couldn't, uh, if he felt like painting little green men on a canvas, he really couldn't because people would have said, well, I'm not buying that. People are stuck. Uh, I can't think of the guy's name. I used to go see a painting by him as often as I could, an American painter. But it doesn't matter. It's the same story everywhere. So, okay, let me know if you have any questions. Remember, it's spiritsbyjanie@gmail.com. And right here, if you have any questions or people you want me to interview, including the questions you want to answer. Okay, thank you very much for watching. This has been a long one. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye bye now.